Here we go. Welcome to the Pompey Pod with Mike and Dan. Dan is back from Turkey looking bronzed and ready for the new season.
Looking pink.
Looking slightly more pink than when he left.
Yeah.
We are going to talk tonight about the fans forum that happened this evening with Andy Cullen, John Massinho, the guy from the women's team, and Marlon Pack were in attendance. Can't remember, Jay Slater, I think it is, from the women's team. We'll talk about the highlights from that. We're also going to look at the new signings, one of which was announced during that fans forum. We're going to have a little discussion over what we thought our thoughts are on the current squad situation, because there seems to be a lot of division in the fan base at the moment as to where we are currently, and maybe also look at our predictions for next season. What three teams are definitely worse than us that are going to keep us in this division? We're going to kick off with the fans forum, though, Dan. Did you have the pleasure of listening to that on BBC Radio 7?
Nope. Tell me all about it.
I shall. I'll give you a whistle-stop tour of it. It was the usual fare of some kind of very loaded questions, which that nobody in the panel can really answer in a truthful way, such as, "Are you happy that we haven't got all our transfer business done yet?" Yeah, I'm delighted.
Yeah.
So little things like that. But I'll go through but also some very sensible questions. And the one thing I would say first and foremost is Massinho, I thought, handled himself impeccably. I would say last year I was a little bit nervous about him because he was his first fans forum, and I thought he sounded a little bit nervous. And obviously he said it won't be a failure if we don't go up. And I thought he just kind of tripped over himself a little bit. But I think tonight actually he was excellent and dealt with everything very, very well. First thing they did do was announce the signing of Andre Dozzell, which we will come back to in a little bit.
We got him.
Yeah. We got our man.
Yeah.
So Andre is in the house. So here's a few of the questions. So one person said about, was it a mistake to let Joe Morrell go, bearing in mind that we're short in midfield? Obviously, that's one of those loaded questions and was answered in the way that only that could be answered. Massinho did point out the fact that Morrell is probably not likely to be fit until November, so therefore wouldn't really have any effect on our current squad anyway. So he did also say he really wanted to keep him, but at the end of the day, they had to factor in the fact that he was injured until November.
Yeah.
So that was kind of one of the more loaded questions. They talked about the academy, because we do now have an academy, and they talked about that in kind of briefly talked about that, and also about whether EFL games could potentially be going over and being played in America one day. Highly unlikely, but they are apparently being screened this year on CBS in America, some live games.
Soccer.
There's soccer, late night soccer, EFL.
Portsmouth.
Portsmouth versus the United of Leeds. No, it'd be Portsmouth at Leeds Rhinos.
Yeah.
Sorry, wrong sport. Yeah, so they also talked about the fact that we've got our transfer business done early last year, and was Massinho disappointed that we hadn't got more done this year. He basically said, look, we've still got a few more targets. And what I quite liked the way he spoke about this, actually, because he did say, look, there's a lot of people, you've got categories of players, you've got your top targets, and then you don't want people in just for the sake of it. We've got to look at the long term. Yes, we want people in, but realistically, sometimes you have to wait for your number one targets. And if it means you have to wait for your number one targets because they're going to help you throughout the whole season rather than the first few games, then that's what you have to do. And he said, we're still in for a number of our top targets. And so the waiting game continues. He kind of suggested there would be at least one more centre midfielder in it, and possibly a centre back, due to the fact that Regan Paul is not actually fit yet. He also suggested he was happy with the striker situation until Bishop obviously had the news about his heart, and it was a kind of a bit of a reactive situation with Sorensen coming in. So that was that. They then was there any targets from the owners, which apparently the owners have not set them any targets for this season. The rest of it really was talk about the pitch invasion and rules around the academy, and having players, losing players from the academy for free, and how that worked and things like that. How this was a strange question. Will we be affected by the inconsistent kickoff times this year? Yes, probably. But again, they can't really say that, can they? Can't really say, yeah, it's perfectly fine. We love kicking off at 8 o'clock one Friday, and then the following week 12:30 on a Saturday, etc., etc. They basically said, Sky pay the wages, so they make the rules, really, which is fair enough. The couple of things that were quite interesting, quality of. Yeah, well, exactly, and that's again Massinho hinted towards that. One thing that was mentioned was about quality of refereeing, and Mourinho did say about how it was quite inconsistent last season, and that this year that all the referees in the Championship apparently are professional referees, so therefore you should have a more consistent level of refereeing. So hopefully that will be the case. Other than that, there's a lot of talk about the infrastructure and the fact that Andy Cullen said about putting 5,000 new seats in the North Stand would cost in the region of 60 to 80 million pounds, and so therefore it's not something they can do kind of lightly. It's a massive investment. The potential return on that is £2 million a season, so it's a very slow payoff. But there was a lot of talk about how that's kind of slowly but surely being done. I think it's more slowly.
That's right, is it?
What's that?
To put another 20,000 seats, did you say?
No, 5,000. 5,000
seats would cost £60 million.
60 to 80 million pounds, apparently. But it's not because you have to rebuild the North Stand, don't you? You're basically rebuilding the North Stand because they'll have new functions.
They're not just going to stick a few plastic chairs. Just a few plastic chairs at the end of each row.
Stick a little gantry with an extra few. They did that a few years ago, didn't they? When our season tickets were in the front row of the North Stand, and then suddenly we were in row 3, weren't we? For the following season. But that was about it, really. There's one guy at the end said, "I'd like to say that we do have stripes on our shirts this season. Can we make sure we don't have that moving forward?" Here's a little bit of banter, which was pretty much just. I don't even think they even referred to it, actually, if I'm honest with you, because he asked 2 questions. I think they kind of ignored that one. But there you go. That was it. You didn't really miss much. It was the usual sort of, are we going to be all right? Are we going to be all right? But I thought Mourinho was very, very good. On that note, and I think he was papering over a few of the issues that we've not got the players in, and he did say that he would have liked them more in by now. But how would you rate our transfer business? First, actually, before we go on to that, tell us about Andre Dozzell. What do you know of him?
I know that he's Jason's son.
Yeah,
I know that
Jason Dozzell, who was once the youngest professional footballer, wasn't he, at one stage with Ipswich?
Was he?
I believe. Oh, yeah. I think so. He was like 16 and a half when he first played for them, I think.
I don't know, Mike. I had a look at a few of the comments. Some say good, some say not good. So standard, you're not going to get different to that, are you? You're not going to get everyone saying he's good or saying he's bad, but more good than bad. But I think that was mainly from the Pompey fans. So it's more probably in hope than anything else.
Wishful thinking, do you think?
Wishful thinking, yeah, possibly.
Okay.
But so Robertson's gone, hasn't he? Or has gone.
Is it deaf time now? He's having his medical today, wasn't he?
Yeah. So
yes. A lot of money, don't you think, for a 21-year-old who's only really had half a season at League One level?
League One, yeah.
£3 million. I can understand why we didn't go, and he is still injured, so I can understand why we wouldn't splash £3 million. It's a big risk if he then gets injured again.
Yeah,
I think.
The thing is, when we play them, he'll get people screaming at him, and then he'll do a rash challenge, get sent off. So
yeah, it's a shame. I think it would have been nice to have him back, but clearly City wanted to get him off their books permanently, didn't they? And £3 million, I suppose, is a decent return on an academy player. Okay, squad in general.
Squad in general, I think it's too early to be completely negative, but it is worryingly still lacking, I think, isn't it? Especially in the midfield area. And I think with those, even though we have got Dozzell in today, Sorensen hasn't played yet, has he? Play against Charlton? Because I was away for that game.
No, I don't think he did. He did.
I heard that was awful. Utterly awful, that game. But then again, how much can you take out of it? Because it's pre-season. We were shite last season, weren't we, in pre-season, and everyone was coming out screaming and moaning about the signings, and the season went all right, didn't it? So hopefully
the season did go all right. It's a little bit different. I think the difference this year, though, is we kick off away at Leeds. Last year we kicked off at home against Bristol Rovers and scraped a draw with a 90th minute equaliser. Leeds away. The only thing that worried me about the Charlton game is how easy. I'm completely with you. I agree that pre-season's pre-season. It doesn't really matter about the results, does it? It's about getting fitness. But they did seem to kind of carve us open quite easily, Charlton. So that was a little bit of a concern. We didn't create a single chance. We didn't have a single shot in the second half, which is also a little bit of a concern. But and Murphy went off injured, but he apparently should be fit for the weekend. That's another thing that came from the forum, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's difficult until we see these teams. I mean, I didn't watch the Championship last season. I just watched League One. So until we actually see just how good these teams are, it's difficult to judge. But yeah, I think it's going to be really hard. It's going to be a hard season. It's certainly going to be a hard first 5 games, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. On those first 5 games, how many points do you see coming from those 5 games? So just to recap, so we got Leeds, Luton, Middlesbrough, Sunderland, West Brom. First 5 games, Leeds away, Luton at home, Middlesbrough away, Sunderland, West Brom at home.
I think
15 points available.
Yeah, I think we're looking to get points from our home games. I think Leeds away, I think first game of the season, big atmosphere, good team, good signings. I think we'll be lucky to get anything from Leeds. Good performance would be I'd be quite, if we can get something to build on, that would be nice. But I can't honestly see us getting even a draw, to be honest, out of that.
A draw would be a result, wouldn't it?
Draw would definitely be a result. And then Luton at home again, it's a Premier League team, only one season, but, good players. Again, a point from that would be good. All our home games, they're all tough, aren't they? Well, all our games are tough. So, I don't know. It's hard, isn't it? Until we actually start the season. I just hope we start off against Leeds and put a good performance in. The new signings look good. We look a bit attacking. That would be nice.
Do you reckon, obviously fans do this, but do you reckon the staff at any professional club look at the season, look at the fixture list and say, right, okay, these are the games we definitely need points from. If you're a club like us, which ultimately our goal is to stay in the Championship, these are games we definitely need points from. These are games if we get anything from, it's a bonus. And these are, and then you'll have a middle ground whereby, these are ones whereby we, it's kind of like, for example, that all the teams that we would expect to be in and around us, we would expect to beat at home, wouldn't we? If we don't beat them at home, we're going to be in trouble. Like the likes of Plymouth, the likes of Oxford, Derby, etc. The teams that came up with us, and Sheffield Wednesday, people like that who were at the lower end of the table last year. But then you've got your kind of Millwall's away, which is Millwall away. That's a quite tricky away game, but you'd think that maybe you could probably get something from that, wouldn't you? To go those categories.
Yeah.
Then you've got your likes of your Leeds, West, the teams who were up there last year that you probably think, well, if you get anything away from home against them, it's a Brucey.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know whether they sit before the season and say that, whether they earmark certain games to put certain players in or rest certain players. I don't know, but I think you go out to try and win any game, don't you? Surely, regardless of who you're playing.
Do you reckon they'll go to win this weekend, or do you reckon they'll go not to get beat?
I don't know. It's difficult. I haven't seen them pre-season other than a few of the highlights. I was away for the last 2 games. What was it? One or two games. Yeah, I think I'd like to think that they would go out for a win first game of the season. I'm sure you'd try and set up to get something, but
all right.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. Would you, as a manager, in the first game of the season? Nothing to really lose.
No, I don't think I would. I think you'd go to, if you go to try and win, I think you're going to get spanked, aren't you, potentially? But I don't know. It's difficult. I think first and foremost, I think we need to be difficult to beat, and I think that was our foundation last year. We were difficult to beat, and then we got the odd late goal or a kind of couple of lucky wins. But actually, it was all based on a foundation of being fairly solid at the back, and I think that's what we want to kind of do this year. I think. Okay, so
did he give any hints to players coming? I mean, I don't even know why I'm asking you this question, because you're going to say no. But did he give any indication as to who might be the defender, midfielder that he's looking at?
No. The only thing he said is, we bought Andre in and centre midfield. That was one of the areas that we were kind of lacking. And he said that's probably, we've still got some irons in the fire. He didn't say that term, but something along those lines. And then he said about Regan still being unfit, and he'd like to have 2 options in every position. So therefore, that kind of suggested that maybe there's going to be somebody coming in there because obviously McIntyre's just picked up an injury. It's going to be out for a couple of weeks as well, isn't he? So effectively, we've got Towler and Shaughnessy who will be starting at the weekend, surely.
Yeah, my tip for prior to the season, before the season started, was going to be McIntyre. I think he's just got something about him. He's got, even though he only played that half a game or that 60-minute game, you see him on Instagram and other things. He seems like he's already a big part of the squad. Seems quite outgoing. He reminds me of Luke 09 at Sunderland.
Oh yeah.
Sort of big player, loud, leery. Will whack someone up in the air, and I just thought he was going to be good. Well, I still hope he can be, but it all depends how long he's out for.
Was it Luke 09 who ended up in the North Lower in that game a couple of seasons ago? I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah. And he was actually fine about it, wasn't he? But Lee Cattermole then started getting all. Yeah,
that's right.
All right, so three teams who are going to finish below us. Give me at least 3 teams off the top of your head. Go on. I reckon we. Yeah, Oxford. Go on.
Yeah. Hopefully Derby. So the two that came up with us.
Mm-hmm.
Plymouth
have got to have the Rooney effect, haven't they?
Well,
as in the negative Rooney effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plymouth. Who else we got? Let me have a look at the table. So you got Sheffield Wednesday. It depends on how well they fought. They struggled last season, didn't they? Until last third of the season.
Till the tail end.
Bristol City.
We should be all right. We should be all right. There's going to be more. There's certainly going to be more defeats than victories. 51 points, I reckon we need. If you look at the last 5 years, last year Plymouth stayed up with 51 points, which was the highest in the last 5 years. 49, 41, 44, and 49 FYI were the previous years before that. But I think 51 points will keep us up, which effectively is 15 wins and a few draws.
Win our first 15 games,
Yeah. And you could look at it as win our first 15, and then relax. Or you could look at it as two points from every home game. If we can get 2 points from every home game, that gives us 46 points, and then we just need to pick up 5 points away from home.
Yeah. Okay.
Easy said, isn't it? Easy said. Easy peas, lemon squeeze. All right. That's about it for this episode of the Pompey Pod. We will be back later in the week with a preview to the Leeds game in a couple of days' time. Pompey do kick off Saturday, 12:30. Don't forget, it's 12:30. And I think it's on Sky, Dan, isn't it?
Is it?
Pretty sure it's on Sky. There's a whole bunch of games. I think every game is on. Every championship game is on Sky. Yeah. As in stream, the Sky stream. So enjoy that. Those of you who are going, enjoy that as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. We are only around about 15 subscribers away from 500, which means once we hit 500, we will be giving away a Pompey shirt, home shirt, to one of our 500 subscribers. So get subscribing now. Please do. Also follow us on Facebook. That's it for now, though. Goodbye.